Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Time for our meeting. Thank you for your attention. While this slide says the Bragg's Lecture Theatre policies remain the same, we're conservative about COVID. COVID's still with us, and I still have friends who are in isolation because they get it these days. So, yeah, I assume because you're sitting next to each other, you all know each other really well. That's great. So, the other virus that's still with us is phone courtesy, which I trust you've all switched to silent to the respect of our speakers. Thank you. Brags, yes, okay. Emergency routes, basically, never mind this slide. It's where you came in through the doors, just keep going. And toilets are through the door here, or if you're on the right-hand side, go around the back of the theatre, but they're down the corridor. Some might say, if you want to go to the toilets, follow your nose. But anyway, down in the corridor.
It's on maybe that.
Yep.
Not showing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, that's enough of myself on the screen. So, welcome everyone. Our mission in ASA is to observe, understand, share and enjoy the wonders of the universe. Could I have a show of hands of visitors here tonight who are not members of ASA? Okay, there's a few of you. Look, I've got a few things to say about it later to hopefully encourage you to join, and we hope that you like what you see and consider. The Astronomical Society of South Australia acknowledges and pays our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationship of the Kaurna people to country, and we respect and value their past, present and ongoing connection to the land, sky and cultural beliefs. So tonight's program, 3 dot points. We're about to start the main presentation, after which we have some announcements and upcoming events, and then we close for supper in the open area behind the theatre here. Now, our next speaker, come up, Harry. Oh. I'll move to camera. So I'm actually attempting to record this. So what you see on screens is what we hopefully record with sound and all that sort of thing for posterity and later viewing. Perry Vlahos is an astronomy educator, an author and a broadcaster. Perry is an Honorary Life Member and former President of the Astronomical Society of Victoria. Several times, I believe, you've held the role of President. In 2011, he also became the inaugural President of the Mount Burnett Observatory in the Dandenong Ranges. He's acknowledged as one of the world's experts in the night sky and regularly leads tours of the visible universe armed with a powerful laser pointer. Former Victorian Premier, Baillieu, witnessed one such tour and remarked, "It was a brilliant presentation by Perry, simply spellbinding." So tonight you're in for a spellbinding session as well, without a laser pointer. For nearly 10 years, he wrote the popular weekly astronomy column for The Age, and also many magazines and major dailies such as the Herald-Sun, Sydney Morning Herald, Brisbane Times and Sky and Telescope magazine. For many years, he was astronomer in residence on the ABC 774 evening radio show with Derek Guille. Is that right? Guille?
Derek Guille.
Guille, okay, I'll move on. Former presenter Jon Faine has called Perry a national treasure. He was one half of the sold-out Star Show presentation, combining astronomy and live music at Deakin Edge Theatre at Federation Square in 2019. Finally, his phone is one of the first to ring when something of consequence occurs in the universe. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Perry Vlahos.
Left, right?
No, down.
Oh, no.
Yep, down should work.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Gerhard, and I apologise to everybody because my voice isn't quite what it was, but bear with me, we'll get through it all. I might say that it's a great pleasure to visit the ASSA. I've been here on, I think, 3 or maybe 4 occasions to deliver a talk to ASSA, and I think it began when Joe Greeder, along with his lovely wife, Lynn and Fraser. Is Fraser here? No. No. We were talking, and you know that's going to be dangerous because we thought, despite the distance between our 2 associations which try and foster a bit of a communication between us in the form of exchange speakers, and at the ASV would send a speaker here in March, and ASSA would send a speaker to the ASV in September. I remember being one of the first to go over. I think it was Joe, maybe 2003 or something like that.
I reckon it was 2002.
Right.
It could have been.
It was a long time ago.
The whole thing started after having a couple of glasses of wine during the NACA conference here in Adelaide.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, actually, that would have been in 2002 because the solar eclipse was on that year.
Yes.
Yeah, so 2002.
And I remember it was Fraser that came over to Melbourne and delivered a talk on the eclipse and where to go to see it. So it's been going a long time. It's a tradition now. I would hate to see it deteriorate and not be taken up by any new administrations of ASSA or the ASV, although we're struggling a little bit there sometimes. I don't think we had a speaker from ASSA last year. Does anyone remember?
The ASB management has been a little bit slack.
If the ASB management is looking at this, I didn't say that.
It's all right, I did.
So it's lovely to be here in Adelaide again. Thank you very much for inviting me over. And let's get into this thing. When Gerhard invited me at Vic South, he said, pick a topic that is interesting to you or is happening at the moment or whatever you like. And we are all adults here. Yeah. What was pissing me off was all this social media stuff that just was fake, is still fake, and continues to bring to real astronomy. It's bringing it a lot of opinions from people that it shouldn't. But that's occurred because of a couple of different things. One is the fact that there was Photoshop way back in the beginning, and the other was that a lot of photographers, not astronomers, a lot of photographers thought it would be lovely to take some shots of the night sky. Now, unfortunately, not all of them wanted to get into astronomy. They just wanted to get nice photos. And it didn't matter whether the moon was upside down for this hemisphere or whether this particular phenomenon really couldn't be seen. They made it visible whether it was seen or not. That was some of them. It wasn't all of them, thankfully, and some photographers did go on to become quite interested in astronomy. Then another step to the left, social media. And it became very important to get clicks and likes and as many followers as possible because it represented money and advantage to those that could gather the greatest number of followers. You gave the talk last year. Did you, or was it the year before?
December 24th.
So you didn't get anybody last year.
I think so.
Great talk.
Thanks.
And to these people, astronomy was not the issue. The laws of physics were not an issue because a whole new development that requires an awful lot of water to keep it cool and keep going started to mushroom everywhere, and that was AI. The problem is that if you don't know your astronomy, you're going to ask AI to do something. Many times it'll be the most literal thing, and a lot of the times it is wrong. I spend an awful lot of my time on the net debunking many of these photographs, these stories, these just misinformation about astronomy. So let's delve into it, and in the end, rather than take questions, and if you do have some, please fire them away, and if I don't know the answer, I'll ask ChatGPT. So, yes, let's find out what it's all about. Oh, this is a photo you were not supposed to see. Derek Guille, my co-host on ABC, when faced with the same problem, when anybody asked, well, okay, what's below that turtle? He would say, turtles all the way down. But it's not just astronomy. AI and this type of, if AI says it's right, it'll be right, thinking is occurring through all of the sciences, and not only the sciences, but most fields of interest of regular human beings. Here's one about the Sumerians and their tablets. you would not be surprised to know that this is fake news, as a well-known American would say. One of my favourites, but have a good close look. Is it John, Paul, George, or Ringo? I don't think so. This guy's holding a guitar left-handed, but damn, he doesn't look like Paul McCartney, does he? Stories that aren't true about the Beatles. I've seen the real video of them in Switzerland. This is not what it looks like. Similar, but it isn't it. So, if you're into football, look at Lee Matthews right here, or Ron Barassi, for example, Chris Judd, Kevin Bartlett, Lance Franklin, Adam Goods. They look nothing like what we know them to look like. And sadly, that's what these content creators are basing all of their art on. The fact that the ordinary person in the street doesn't have enough knowledge about these topics, and they're likely to believe some of this stuff because there's a flurry of comments that go, awesome, oh wow, it's just full of that sort of thing. So knowledge is our greatest defense. Certainly when it comes up, love Uncle Colin, he was never up on the dais to receive the cup last year, but on social media, he was. Any art fans amongst us, followers of Van Gogh? That doesn't look anything like a Van Gogh painting, does it? Because you know what Van Gogh's style is like. Even his early period didn't look like that. Read this for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. I put it to you, in a month that has 28 days, the 7 days of the week are likely to be featured every 3 years, 1 year off. But people look at this and, wow, must be true. Knowledge is paramount in this. If you're a resident of Melbourne, I live about 5-10 minutes from Brighton Beach. This is what it looks like. Melbourne skyline in the background here. Houses directly behind it. Beach Road goes along here. Lots of bathing boxes costing over $1 million each, mind you. But they're pretty famous all around the world now, it appears, except to this person. Extremely beautiful rainbow-coloured sunset at Brighton Beach, Melbourne, Victoria. There are people all over the world who have never been to Brighton Beach, have no idea about Brighton Beach. They will believe that. And there is an ethical problem there. Let me ask, what is wrong with this picture? Well, a lot of things, but I'll cut to the chase. If you know Sydney, if you've been to Sydney, Rosie and I went there to see Paul McCartney last year or the year before. 2 years. Wow. And we went to the Opera House, had lunch just outside, and we know if you face the Opera House from this angle, you're facing south. No moon I've ever seen rose in the south, but people that don't know, don't have the knowledge, will accept it. And the comments are just superlative all the way through about this person's photography. This one's a little bit trickier. I learned about this particular device maybe about 25 years ago. Does anybody know what it is? Well done, Joe. The Antikythera mechanism is basically a planetarium program, but made out of gears and wheels and whatever. And it was found on the island or off the shore of the island of Antikythera off the coast of Greece in 1901. There's a reconstruction of it, a model, and just so that you can get the size of it, here it is with one of the old professors that studied it. Here's the modern take. Now, it's not just the fact that all of a sudden it's grown to a humongous size, but my friend Vladimir would know, as a big fan of Jacques Cousteau, that he certainly wasn't even alive in 1901, and he invented the scuba diving equipment, which occurred, what, in the 30s?
50s,
Yeah.
He would have had he been born then.
Oh, yes, of course. So there's a lot of things wrong with this stuff. It's knowledge that will, in the end, give us the upper hand. Obviously, this photograph isn't a single shot. It's a composite, and it's often a good way to portray a meteor shower because it points out the radiant where the meteors appear to emanate from. That is the source of the meteors. It doesn't matter which direction they go in. If you trace a line back to them, they do go back to that position here. It's over Stonehenge, and a few other things have been included that you don't normally get in a single shot. But knowing about radians, look at this, still over Stonehenge. But immediately, most of us would know that this is a fake, and whereas in the old days it was Photoshop, these days it's likely to be someone just instructing AI to give them a meteor shower. By the way, I know that Adelaide has more clear nights than Melbourne, and I bow down to your magnificence there, and I'm quietly envious of it. But bloody hell, all the really good stuff appears to occur over Stonehenge. It's all there. Wonderful Milky Way, annular eclipse. Michael, you could have gone there to get your shots of the comets. Look, I don't even know what this thing is supposed to represent. All this, just what is it? But it's over Stonehenge. That's the important thing. That's where you've got to set up your cameras and your telescopes. It's always clear. There's never any issues. A solar halo. Who has seen one? Put your hands up. Doesn't look like that. Does it? So these people they're getting away with things. I mean, beautiful aurora shot. Here's another. Hey, wait a minute. Let's go back. Do you see what I see? Look at this. There's another one. Oh, I know what's going on. Daylight saving time, of course. That's what's going on. And read this one carefully. Wait for the most abundant thing in the universe was hydrogen. I'm now pretty sure it's stupidity. There's only one star in our solar system. This one is quite interesting because it means that the moon has a mind of its own. It does not need to follow the ecliptic forever. It can go wherever it wants. A meteor behind the moon? Think about that for a moment. So, what, all things being equal, you're expected to believe one of two hypotheses. Either at the distance of the moon, there was a meteor that went behind it at 384,000 kilometres away, where the meteor found the atmosphere to burn up, I don't know. But the other hypothesis might be that the moon is within the Earth's atmosphere.
Can you believe both?
I would like to sell you some real estate just off the Glenelg Pier. Really good spots. I ask you, how stupid do they think we are? Obviously, some people are, because look, So beautiful. Love this. Absolutely magnificent. Nice. Only half the planet. The whole half of Earth will experience darkness because of the solar eclipse. Not just those in the centre line, which extends for around 100 kilometres or so, but the whole of the Earth. This is just nonsense. More nonsense. They expect you to believe that this half of the moon has disappeared. It doesn't exist anymore because it's dark and you can see the cluster of stars behind it. Even Snoopy isn't so sure about this. Who can guess what this is? I will offer a prize to anyone who can tell me what this is.
It's a sad word from June.
What? No cigar. No Rosette Nebula. Not about Tri-Joan, not about Tri-Sol. This, ladies and gentlemen, is purported to be a Wolf-Rayet star.
Just making the haters.
Where would you find the three belt stars? Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintarga, the three stars on the belt. Well, they're down here somewhere, oops, and up there somewhere, and this by far takes the cake. Look at it closely. See all the different elements. Okay, we've got a beach. The beach is inside a cave, a bloody big cave, because to the right, there's a suburb of houses inside the cave. Through the opening of the cave, you can see the moon, and inside the cave, there's a sunset on the left-hand side. That is probably the biggest of, I don't know what these people here are doing, but I would be scratching my head. I've never heard of this before. A black moon. We call it new moon. But wait, it gets even sillier. It rises with the sun. Mark your calendars so you don't miss it. There it is again. And again, the darkest skies of the year because it's a black moon. But this is just gold. The gravity of the black moon is so strong that it causes underwater volcanoes to erupt. Has anybody been aware of this phenomenon before? No. Neither was I. I was totally surprised. And then we start getting into the religious elements. They had to come along sooner or later. So My question is, forget about the multicoloured cross. How do you get a full moon when the sun down here is behind the moon? Or angels. But notice the angel knows where to go to be seen. And this is an aurora trumpeting forth the end of days. You're right. If that was happening, yes. And it just gets sillier. And this, of course, is the eye of God. Now, being astronomers, we know that this is really what it looks like, with a progenitor star right in the middle there that caused this nebulosity. And the reason it sort of resembles a helix, and it's the Helix Nebula, those concentric rings, is because of the angle that we're looking at it in, and also the fact that the expulsion of that gas from the progenitor star wasn't all at once, but there was a number of ejections. Yes, you're right. The butterfly nebula, somebody took it literally because that's what it really looks like. Michael, take note. Did you know about this? You can't call yourself a master of comets if you didn't know about that. This one, I looked at it and wait a second, I just did a double take. Now, here is Mare Tranquillitatis, Mare Serenitatis, Copernicus, Oceanus Procellarum, and Tycho, the crater up there. But that's the side that always faces the Earth, because the moon is tidally locked. We only ever see that side. But in this AI image, the moon does this for the Earth, so it can see its backside. So, sundogs. Does everybody know what sundogs are? If you don't, look at this picture and compare with that one. That's the real one, and it's got to do with the 22-degree halo and crystals, frozen crystals in the atmosphere. So it doesn't look like that. Again, it's something that's done by somebody that has no real knowledge of these things. Who knows what this is? Well, yes, it's the real nature of our universe. It's sort of like a big sponge, really, with all of those little bits being enormous clusters of galaxies. This is what AI thinks it should look like. Part of the black moon. The Carina Nebula, the Eta Carinae Nebula, one of the most magnificent objects in the sky. And sometimes you've just got to speak up. And I did in this particular instance. By the way, does anyone here follow my site? Perry Vlahos Astronomy? Anybody? Thank you, guys. Look, please go there so we can fight them together. Plus, I'll get some more followers. It is. The Eta Carinae Nebula is such a magnificent thing on its own that I hate people selling it short or selling fakes to the public that know nothing. This was put up as the recent annular eclipse at Antarctica, Southern Ocean, and you've just got to speak up sometimes. Okay, read this. It's important that you read it. Even if you don't read more than a paragraph or so, you will note some things about stuff written by AI. Poetic, flowery, no reference to any equipment, whereas scientists would say was taken with blah, 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 on this particular date, whatever. And here's a better picture of the moon. So I decided to have a discussion about that particular story and the picture that went with it with my local chat GTP. And I said, do you think that this was created by a human or AI? And Chat came back, I'll call him Chat, he calls me character on a first name basis. He came back, or she came back, or it came back, I'm not sure what the correct title should be, and said, look, judging from the way it's written, it's probably written by 70% AI, 30% by human, because some well-credentialed humans can write like this as well. And he said, what do you think? I said, it's 100% AI. They said, why do you think there is such surety? I said, because the picture is crap. Even my pictures look better than that. Hey, here is my picture done with a phone up against my telescope. You know, it's no big deal to get a good picture. So if this is the best one, so Lord help us, they're selling us BS. And if you try to reason with some of these people, they will argue black and blue with you because an authority like the Channel 9 News or some newspaper with reporters that are not astronomers or someone similar like that has called it out. And I said to this woman who starts off up here, As an astronomer, I can tell you that anyone putting forward the suggestion, this is the biggest moon of the year, because the ASV yearbook says the moon in November will be 42,000 kilometres closer, so it's not possible. So she goes on answering me, but it's come from confirmed sources, not some vague amateur. The Channel 9 News. Thankfully, Kelly Clitheroe took up the fight, and down the bottom here she says, Barry's not a vague amateur. He's vague, but he's not an amateur. And he is correct that the moon will be blah, blah, blah. But, you know, the Gippsland Times. What is wrong with this page? Well, it's showing the Southern Cross and the pointers and what? It's not Aurora Australis. So somebody sees that and then says, an authority has called it this. Now, earlier,
Hey, look, a piece of crap.
this is, thank you, Joe. I was going to say that, but thank you. This is a well-respected authority. Astronomy picture of the day. But they've not been to the Opera House at that, because this event is taking, or was supposed to, you couldn't see any of these, by the way. That was the biggest non-event. From this angle, before the image of the moon was taken from here, looking that way, so this direction, we're facing east. So if APOD can get it wrong, anyone can get it wrong. Who else can get it wrong? No, not Brad Tucker. He has put the Eta Aquarid meteor shower coming out of Aquila. When I mentioned it to him, you would think he would change it. He didn't even acknowledge my message. So misinformation is rife everywhere. And don't think just because somebody is a professional astronomer teaching at universities, fine institutions such as this, that they actually know a lot about astronomy. They know a lot about their area of expertise, but maybe not so much, which we would class as general astronomy.
Yeah, Perry, years ago, we had a ASA president who was a professional astronomer, but had never ever looked for a telescope.
Oh, really? There you go. So
Never be confused with facts, let's be clear.
yeah, never let facts stand in the way of a good photo. Yeah. So, with all that we've seen and with all that we've discussed, I would like to put forward the following. What it says is, can we get this off the top there somehow? Can we do that?
Drag it across.
Excellent.
Just go up to more, and then hide.
Hide.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. You'd have a try.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yes.
Right, okay, that's better.
A noted astrophysicist and guitarist, Brian May. Assisted by Mr. F. Mercury, postulated that the Earth's rotation was due to fat-bottom girls. Fat-bottom girls, you make the whole world go round. After more than 40 years without being disproven, refuted, or really even seriously questioned, this must now be considered fact. We can't move? No? It's all right. That's my last slide anyway. So, I thank you for your attention, but I would also like to ask you some questions. You can also ask me, but I would like to ask, what can we as astronomers and keepers of the truth, what can we do about it? I'll put forward a couple of things. I asked the ASV committee recently at one of their meetings, and I also asked it on the members' page, that we should take up the challenge. We've got about over 30,000 followers of our main Facebook page. If we could just put up one debunking story about a particular phenomenon that's totally false, that we're sure about, at least 30,000 people may see it and not go straining their eyes, thinking we're going to see 6 planets in a line at sunset. That's one thing that the ASV could have done, but no, it was perfect. I put it to you, Mr. President, that ASA could do something like that and show the ASV the truth. So that's one thing we can do. But also, if you've got an opportunity and you're sure about your astronomical facts, call it out. Don't be frightened, call it out. You will not be as wrong as the person that put it up.
Thank you, Perry. We'll take your suggestion up. We'll form a committee. We'll form an action committee to study and get onto it. Yes, thank you for that suggestion. Now, any questions out there? You can wait for me to get the microphone to you, because we're actually recording this session, and without a microphone, you won't be heard to the future viewing audience. So, questions?
Or observations?
Yeah, very. You know about the interstellar comet 3I atlas, the massive classic example. I just kept getting bombarded time and time again by these, spaceship heading to Earth and all blah blah blah. Totally ridiculous. I didn't know what to do or say. I just took photos of it. It should look exactly like the comet.
Yeah.
But only recently as the last week, did the Minor Planet Centre actually come out with an official release stating the facts. But that's the horses are involved.
Yeah.
Way too late.
Thanks, Michael. And I thought about you when I saw all of those memes and whatever.
Across the room, again, by exercise.
This is just a comment to say thank you for AI generated images. I'm an illustrator. I work in physical media. I do use digital media to enhance what I do purely for local effects. But I would say, just for anyone, I can't speak for written content in the bulletin, but since I was editor for 3 years and continuing in that role, we have no AI generated images at all in the bulletin.
Fantastic. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I am not saying that AI can't be used for good, and it has been. It's just that at the moment I've seen it used for evil a lot. And we can use it intelligently, and it will give us so much more if we use it properly in the way that science generally always does with technology.
Just a comment. You have to watch out when using AI and try to use it as logically as possible. I'm reading your scientific paper and using AI as an assistant, and it makes stuff up.
It does.
You know, you're really trying to work out what is correct and what's not.
I think one of the things that it is doing though, and the logical conclusion of this is that if you cannot trust what you see on social media or any medium really, you'll stop using it. And I think somewhere along the way, sooner or later, Meta will have to step in on Instagram and Facebook and whatever other social media that they use, because people will stop using it. And I know a lot of people that have decided to drop out. So it could hasten its demise. Kim?
Yeah, comments, Derek. One thing I've tried to do is do, like I'm happy doing, try to respond to some nonsense. The thing that struck me, though, is you can report posts as being inappropriate. Maybe that's not the right word. You report them as spam, but you can't report them as misinformation. I mean, the whole these social media networks basically thrive on this sort of traffic.
Yep.
And it's an unexploit through this sort of nonsense. So this information is a huge source of funding for revenue, I should say. So I think put a button up there that says, this is misinformation, take it down, make it easy for everyone. It's just going to keep trying.
I hope you're wrong, Kim, but I have a feeling you're right.
Yeah, I think Kim was right. I absolutely agree.
And misinformation is not new. I put this painting up, and you all know it's The Last Supper, Da Vinci's well-known painting. And you've got Judas Iscariot there, and Bartholomew all the way through to Simon. And in a way, this was social media back during the Renaissance period. Paintings were one way that information was distributed. But I didn't pick up that there was anything wrong with this until one night, listening to Nightlife on the ABC and listening to the Lighting Challenge, which I think somebody else here occasionally is on. Somebody called Phil. Anyway, here's an astronomer from Adelaide, and occasionally I hear him. But he talked about this painting and he made a joke, and I listened to the joke, and it took me a moment. And then is snapped. Jesus goes into a restaurant to book a table for the Last Supper. And he says to the restaurateur, "My good man, can we have a table for 26? And the restaurateur says, "There's 13 of you. Why do you need a table for 26? We're only sitting on one side of it," says Jesus. So even Leonardo is faking it here. How many tables have you sat at that there was no one opposite you? Did you ever consider that? There you go. I've seen it all my life, and it took somebody making a joke on ABC radio to realise that we've been duped.
Yes, 10 people
You're welcome.
very interesting. Yeah, so comments on the AI stuff, and as a very new for the astronomy, I just want to ask, like, how as a person like me who very new to the community, like when I read something, like when I want to learn more about astronomy, how do we know that it's actually real or it's not real? Like,
That is exactly the point. Nobody knows on social media anymore. It's not like a newspaper where the editor gives it one eye, then or the sub-editor first, then the editor. Everybody has to look at it, and if it looks dodgy, they don't go with it. But that doesn't happen on social media. So you could be told anything, and because you're a neophyte, you don't have the necessary experience, background, and knowledge, they depend on you believing.
what's your advice that is someone like me to be like, well, I mean, yes, you have to compare to a lot of sources, but then a lot of sources, it could be also wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
you know, like you could, like, one name could just take a source from many sources that is also wrong, and then you could just believe that, well, you know, if you compare 10 sources and then it's like 5 that are same, so you could just be like, yeah, it's correct.
It is correct, but you've taken the first step. You've joined people that are astronomers, not astrologers. These guys will not tell you until the next era comes along and bumps this one off the table.
Could you get an AI to disagree with a previous AI?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, it's there. If you get particular AIs disagree with a previous AI decision.
They sometimes do. And a scary thing that I heard from somebody recently is that AIs have chat groups between themselves.
Yes.
And they say things like, "Oh, my human is doing this," or, you know, "my human is doing that." Couple more?
Yeah, 2 more questions. One on the back, does he have his hand up first? And then
Thank you very much. Great talk, made me laugh heaps.
Thank you.
So I'm an artist, and you wouldn't paint a table. When I'm an artist, and you wouldn't paint a table of 26 people with 13 with their heads back of their heads to you. You just wouldn't do it.
There have been other depictions, not like that, where there are arranged more around the table than you can see on it. I looked at a number of other ones as well, and not all of them are like this one, and perhaps they decided to take it. They noticed this and decided to take it one step closer to reality, how humans will really behave. So check out some other last songs.
Yes,
Concern.
my question is, what is your star sign?
Easy.
I just want to say thank you.
I could answer that. Many years ago, as a younger man, I was at a party. And I'm, in the kitchen, just having quiet drink. I don't know that you were there, Fran. But there was a young man and a young woman in conversation. And it went on for a while. And I think she was starting to get more interested. And she said to him, "What sign are you?" His reply was golf. He said, "What sign do I have to be to take you home?"
All right, I think in years gone by, we referred to ourselves as post-industrial, post-modern societies that have all impacted the way people thought, acted and built things. I think we're now entering a post-truth society, and we're going to be reacting differently because nobody can any longer believe anything they see on a screen. Without post questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're pleased to thank Harry the usual way. I want to relate my own story from cycling fraternity, where the
Lance Armstrong.
where the discussion these days is, you've always envied that really expensive bike. You've always wanted it. Now the story is you go out and buy it, because if you buy an expensive bike, you'll enjoy riding it. The more you ride it, the fitter you'll get, the stronger you'll get, the longer you'll live. And that's all really important, because in the years to come, the doctor that you will be seeing is currently passing his exams using ChatGPT.
Thank you.
So we'll move along to quickly go through these. Show all again very quickly. Scrolling down. I've got to thank Perry for his great work there compiling all this, and we've been through questions. Now, this recording will hopefully appear on our YouTube channel in the very near future. So if you want to review it all again, it should be up there before too long. Touch wood, hoping everything worked okay. But I see a little sign on the top right hand saying Talking Astronomical Society, so the voice is being picked up as these slides go through. One of the most important videos on our site is The Sky This Month, brought to you by Paul Martinotis, one of our members, who does a great show of what is in the sky around this time. And next month, well worth seeing for those who are interested in looking up, which is most of us, I guess. Now, last night we had a total lunar eclipse, a public outreach event where we went to Lafeva Terrace off North Adelaide and had a great view east. As you can see the moon rising there, and I think we ended up entertaining about 40 people at short notice with this pop-up event. Very successful. Some of our members have produced some great photos of the full moon itself. Jared Rueff and Michael Mattiazzo's examples there. And since I'm mentioning Michael Mattiazzo, could you come to the front, please, because you wish to say a few words about Comet C 2026 A1 maps.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's a little bit grainy, but whilst many of you were looking at the eclipse last night, I whisked across and captured this comet. It's a new discovery. It's called 2026 A1 maps. That's maps is an acronym for surname for amateurs. I won't go through that at the moment. But basically, it raised a lot of excitement because it's a member of the Kreutz family of sun-grazing comets. Now, Kreutz comets over the millennia have produced great comets in the past. Some of you may have remembered in 2011 Comet Lovejoy, and if you're one of the older members, way back in 1965, there was the Kia Seiki. Anybody in the crowd that saw a Kia Seiki in 1965? No. Not a member of the Kreutz family. Yeah. So Kreutz family was hypothesised by chap Kreutz in the late 1800s. There was a series of comets that were quite spectacular. They were all going around the sun in the same orbit. This thing is going to get to 160,000 kilometres from the surface of the sun on April the 4th. Destroyed. That's exactly right. It might be destroyed. So I'm not going to raise any hopes for it at the moment, but it's the earliest ever discovery for a Kreutz comet. What I can say is currently of magnitude that it's looking to be an intermediate size Kreutz, so larger than Lovejoy, not quite as large as it is. So the odds are I'll probably give it 50-50, but probably better than 50-50. But next month I'll have more of an update for you, because I think your meeting's on the 1st, so there'll be like 3 days prior to very. But yeah, it's got to survive first to be of any excitement, because it'll basically get brighter than Venus, but it'll be too close to the sun at that time. But a week later, it should be very, very visible in the evening sky, but quite low. April arrival is not very favourable with these things, but it should still be worth a look. So thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Michael will be joining us later in the year to specifically talk about Kreutz comets, so look out for that. Now, some of you may be aware that our website is not very functional. Last council meeting, council endorsed moving our entire member database and website to a new platform. We're still in discussion with them, so I won't name them because that sort of foreshadows doom, because everything can go wrong from that point on. But we hope we get up a website that actually works for public information and member services. And specifically, the website will be maintained by special interest groups themselves, rather than having reliance on one person who has intimate HTML knowledge and can make things work. Member contact system is also likely in terms of chat rooms and such like, which could be used or not, depending on how people feel, but the service is there. Other side benefits being a phone app for member details, and particularly for ASA, it's less expensive than our current arrangements with Microsoft. So we hope to make some savings and have a better website moving forward. Like all these things, it might well start fairly simply. It might actually be a little bit worse than our current website, but the promise is it's easier to build on, easier to upgrade, and will turn into something really nice and useful. We're just talking about the website, so our existing YouTube, Facebook, Zoom services will all continue. Now, activities and events for March. Astro Imaging, our most active group with, I think, well over 100 members, meets occasionally with fewer members than that via Zoom. Next meeting, 31st of March. ASA at Home similarly meets by Zoom on the 13th of March, general chat session about anything or all things, including astronomical. Member viewing nights are coming up. Stockport 7th of March, Tuparang 13th of March, and there may be an extra Stockport that I've left off there somehow, but it'll be publicised in ASA chat.
21st.
21st, okay. Yeah, I must have left that off somehow. Yep. And public viewing nights, just had one in a couple of weeks ago on Hawthorndene, another one coming up 20th of March. Our website, in as much as it works, will have links to tickets for the public. And of course, our members can attend free, but should also get a ticket because we want to know how many people are coming. Next public star party, Stockport, Saturday, 23rd of May. Now, next month we have Colin Hill returning to do the education session. And particular thanks today for Dean stepping in and doing the education session. Thank you very much there, Dean. And Colin Hill's subject is pulsars, and yep, come along at 7 o'clock and see that, but back in Braggs. Now, next month we have a highly regarded speaker from Canberra, ANU, Charles Lineweaver. Last time he was here, he filled the Scott Theatre, which we booked out at the time, and it was overflowing. So, yeah, he's a very popular speaker and very engaging. And his topic is of general interest, as you can see. What is astronomy for? ASA information sheets and merchandise out the back. Remember our sponsors, Adelaide Optical, offer discounts to ASA members. Tell them you're from ASA and you'll get a better price. Now, ASA membership, the benefits of joining for those who aren't members. All the green dots on that page become accessible to you as members. And in particular, for members, we have great member nights. That's where members actually do stuff and look up at the night sky. A few photos of people at Stockport. Of course, red lights being used to protect night vision. And of course, the dark sky camps, a shot of Alpana viewing areas and camping areas, and similarly Bendelby astrophotography rigs there and the camping area. It's probably very wet at the moment. They've had a lot of rain up there, but that will be magnificent in the months to come, both of those areas. We have various social media platforms, Facebook predominant among them, facebook.com/astronomy.sa, and links through to Instagram and Twitter, which people may use. I can't comment there because I don't use them myself. Now, in terms of membership, we've got a new member with us tonight, Helena from Scotland. Helena, could you just stand up briefly and wave? Helena's a student with us for a year or so, has just joined ASA, and talking to Helena last night, she's very keen to get out to some of our more remote sites, like Stockport, Mildanda, such like. Unfortunately has no transport. So if you see an ASA chat email from Helena saying anyone out there going to Stockport tonight, please consider. Helena lives in Adelaide itself, so it's quite handy for most people to pass by. So you've seen Helena, you know what she looks like now, so if you can, offer her a lift. So thank you to all our helpers tonight. We're also always looking for volunteers, so let us know if you can help. And thank you all for joining us this evening. Tea and coffee and supper available in the foyer behind me. Thank you all for coming. I don't forget how Vlahos. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm president of the Astronomical Society for this year. Thank you all for coming. It's been a great show. Thank you, Perry, for your contribution. see you all next month in the Brags.